I'm very clear about this. Kingdom is the best possible model of government. There is no better model in the world, period. End of story. Our experiment with republics and democracies have been an utter catastrophe. Right? If you look, and Hoppe wrote his book on it, being German, and it's the one thing he got completely right without error, is that, sorry, you may not think monarchy is the best, but it is the best. Right?
I am absolutely monarch.
Because you can't, that person is the only person without a tragedy of commons incentive. Right? That's the only person that has the long-term interest of the people, and it's the only person that has a genetic interest in the people. So you have an extended family, right? And we can cooperate across families. The whole world can cooperate across families. But the minute your family's trying to take my family's political power, sovereignty, land, traditions, fuck that, right? So
the tradition of the divine right of monarchy, and you have the Christianity, for example, in Europe. You have the Abrahamic.
Yeah, that doesn't mean what it means. What people think it means. It just means that God put me here, and if I make a mistake, it's God's. Right? That's what it means. Right? It doesn't mean I can say anything I want. Right? It says that because our traditional law was our traditional law. It's sort of like Sharia is limits the powers of the state, while our traditional law limited, because in our world we're all sovereigns. Right? If you're a free man, you're sovereign. If you fight, you're a sovereign. And so the law is what controls you. You owe your loyalty to the king, but you're sovereign.
This is pretty Western, yeah. This is a pretty Western idea, actually. And
it's necessary because people forget. You guys had in the Middle East, you have these rivers, right? You had the and it goes right over to the Indus River and then over to the Yellow River. What?
Tigris and Euphrates
and so what happens is, you can all the production is in a narrow band along the rivers, right? And so what happened, it was very easy because people don't think about this, but priests were first and kings were second. So kings came along and conquered these places and built and used the funding to supply their troops. So this is where it came from. But you can't do that on the steppe. You can't, so you can't build specialized militaries on the steppe. You can't afford to. And so the Indo-European tradition had to be contractual, right? Because there's no way for anybody to get enough power because everything's too production, especially for horses, is too far spread out.
I try to understand it from a Machiavellian approach. There is power, there is sovereignty, and it has to be concentrated in one person, in one authority that represents the history, represents the world we live in.
No. That you need a judge of last resort. In other words, it's very different to say I can do what I want, and you can't do whatever you want. In other words, those are two different positions. Now, if you have a small community, the Arabs are great at this, right? You can govern that, but a single guy can't govern, you can't know enough. So what you can do is handle exceptions. And so you have to move from the via positiva ruler of a small kingdom to the exception handling of a large kingdom. So the purpose of a ruler is to prevent usurpation of the law and his people and his monarchy by others. He doesn't have to do anything else except shake hands.
You mean a symbolic? You mean a symbolic?
Well, he's not symbolic. It's quite practical. He just doesn't have to administer anything. If you're look at
modern CEO.
Exactly. You don't administer things. You limit what people can do, and so the reason for that is it forces responsibility downward. They can't blame you, right? But you can blame them. So it pushes responsibility down to each person, and this is what creates investment in the polity.
And how to secure the power to the next generation?
Well, The way we do it is with the militia. You have to have a body of law. That body of law has to say things like, your loyalty is due the king as long as he doesn't break the law. If he breaks the law, you cut off his head, right? That's what it has to say, and
thing to do.
the problem is you never have to, because like the Germans are notorious for this. Ludwig, the guy who built all those castles, right? Mad King Ludwig, his family got rid of him, right?
Ludwig, yeah.
Yeah, his family got rid of him because
all the resources of the kingdom.
Yes, he was. So they got rid of him. So you don't have to you don't have to behead the king. You just have to make it clear that you're unhappy with him, and you might. And then the royal family.
Have you been in Munich? Sorry, have you been in Munich? Look what he has done.
I had a girlfriend. Ooh, I had a girlfriend in Munich.
Uh-oh.
He's Italian.
Yeah, that's a beautiful.
I hope she doesn't see this.
I am not going to air that to the wall.
Oh, you can air it. You can air it. It only enhances my reputation.